Welcome back to the Barrel Talk Podcast. We are back with another episode. This is going to be the Eastern Conference edition to kind of the Western Conference edition of just playoff basketball. We are officially at the end of the first round, getting into the second round starting tomorrow. By the time we're recording this, the first games for the second round are going to be Spurs, Wolves, and Knicks, Sixers, going into this Monday slate of a fresh week of playoff basketball in the second round. Going to be talking about the Eastern Conference. We can kind of start out with some of the teams who got eliminated with the Hawks and Magic over the past couple of days, and then get into some previews going into the second round. But we want to start this episode out talking about the Hawks, team that got eliminated. Embarrassing fashion, still a very successful season for this Atlanta Hawks team. My main question, what is something that they need to add?
I think size. Sorry, Phil, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the same thing. Okongwu, very good player. I think they need a bit more backup, depth in the big man department. And then I think they need a co-star with Jalen Johnson, because he's talented, but he can't be the only guy.
Yeah, the thing about size is Okongwu is good, and sure, if you want to keep him as your starting center, if that's something you like, I'm not going to go as far as say I don't think they can't win with that starting lineup. Probably not a title, but just for next year, if you're not going to be able to make a big time move, maybe Jalen Duren just lost hella money if he doesn't pick it back up here in this next round. Maybe you want to overpay for him and the Pistons ain't willing to do it. Something crazy like that happens. Other than that, just marginally, just some depth at the big position, a big 7-footer for certain types of matchups. And then, listen, I love what CJ McCollum just did, but I know the free agent market isn't that good. I don't know what you're looking at for a trade. I'm looking to maybe replicate getting a guy that can provide that next to Jalen Johnson, like he said, with the co-star, but maybe someone a little bit younger and even more, a little bit better. If you feel like it's the time to keep – listen, I know we said this was the year for it, and it definitely was if you look at the landscape of the East right now. I think next year could be another year to try to capitalize in the East. I think all these teams in the Eastern Conference playoffs right now need to be ultra aggressive, trying to build their roster as good as they can with being smart and not just throwing all your picks at somebody. With that being said, I love CJ McCollum, but I think that formula works well next to a Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson might be the most perfect number 2 option when it comes to trying to compete at the highest level. And I think he's only getting better. Maybe he is the number 1 still, but to make life easier on him, get another shot creator. Nickeil Alexander-Walker had an unbelievable regular season. He's not going to be a reliable shot creator in the playoffs. He's a reliable player, reliable starter, reliable defender. Definitely a guy that you want on the court. But let's get some more shot creation next to Jalen Johnson while he progresses to whatever his peak is.
That's where I was going to go more, was the shot creating. I think they need to get another point guard. I know how CJ McCollum's 34. I don't know if he's slated to be back on the team next year. I would assume so, but
I feel like they'll bring him back if he's,
probably, if he is on a contract here. Obviously, like Cole said, Nickeil Alexander-Walker had a great regular season, but replicating that in the playoffs in the future, just not too confident around that. I don't know about going all in. I think I would be pretty comfortable with these guys just continuing to build young talent. And, obviously you still have a few of those veterans on the roster, but definitely get another playmaker in the guard room. And I think they're solid, honestly.
I think they're in an interesting spot. I kind of agree with everything you guys have said. I'm in the camp of bringing back CJ McCollum, obviously, if it's not going to be anything to break the bank for you financially. But I just think he's played too good. And this free agency class isn't really anything crazy to where, there's no guy in free agency that I think they can go get for a good price that's going to give them so much more than what CJ McCollum possibly could. Has a number 2 to Jalen Johnson. Hey, and even if you still have a CJ McCollum, that doesn't mean you can't make a possible trade later down the line in the season to go get that number 2. So here's what my thing is to kind of get through the Atlanta Hawks. They have the Pelicans first rounder this year. That could be a top 4 pick. So they are in the realm of getting a really talented guy this draft process. And I know everybody's the Hawks have been linked to being a possible guy for Giannis, right? But I think they need a true point guard, truly. And they are kind of building this kind of roster to make me think of, what if they buy low? Think about somebody in the drafts like Stoles more kind of tapped in with the draft, and same as Cole. I know Nick is not super familiar with the drafts and everything like that, but they could go get a big of a Day Mara, somebody who could just be a 7-footer that has great hands, played with Michigan. We saw him being able to run the floor, be great in the pick and roll, be great to make passes out of the pick and roll as well. Just draft a guy in Ade Mara, in my opinion, to kind of be that pseudo center. And that's where I would go in the draft if I was Atlanta, because I think Ade Mara next to Jalen Johnson and Double O, who can be a stretch guy off the bench. I like Double O being more of like a Naz Reid, kind of comparing them to the Timberwolves with this team and having a true 7-footer at the 5 spot. And then you have Double O being this guy that, all right, go out there and kind of run the show a little bit. You can do so much offensively, and you're still a great defender to where we can put you out there with somebody like Ade Mara, who would, yes, be a young center, and they're kind of turning the corner to compete. But I think Ade Mara, because they do have the Pelicans pick, and they do have another pick. So they have 2 first-rounders this year in the draft. So they can do a lot of different – Cole, you're muted, by the way. But they can do a lot of different stuff like in this draft process. But here's a sneaky one that I haven't seen a lot. What if they used one of their picks, because Memphis also has multiple first-round picks? What if they used their pick to kind of like pseudo trade down? Maybe they traded one of their own pick like in the teens, that where it's going to end up. What if they traded that for like John Morant and got a number 2 next to Jalen Johnson? And then you have this team of like John Morant, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels. So you have defensive guards around John Morant. You still have Double O, who's a spacing big. You have Jalen Johnson, who can run the floor. And then you still have another draft pick to utilize as well. You can still even then have CJ McCollum if you wanted to. You can still bring back Jonathan Kuminga. You could throw Ricochet to the Grizzlies in that kind of trade package to get off him, because he was getting DMPs. So I'm sitting here looking at, like, is John Morant the perfect player? No. But is he an affordable guy that can be a number 2 option, possibly number 1 next to Jalen Johnson, and they need a point guard? Yeah, because I'm looking at the Atlanta Hawks and the way they want to get up and down and play. You're telling me Jalen Johnson and John Morant with Naw, Dyson Daniels, Double O, and the spacing? I think in the Eastern Conference it could work, because I don't like them going all in for somebody like Giannis. I think they're a little too far away to be like, we're going to add Giannis and we're going to go to the finals out the East.
Why'd they move off Trae Young then if they're just going to bring back another guy who can't shoot efficiently or can't score efficiently and just is going to play in the pick and roll all the time?
Because I think John Morant has a higher ceiling of a player than Trae Young in certain situations, like Atlanta.
All right, you lost me there.
I think it's a higher ceiling, maybe, but at the same time, I think
John Morant's ability to play above the rim and get downhill could open up the game a lot. Because I think John Morant also
he doesn't really even do that anymore, though.
But I think John Morant has he's not as bad of a defender as Trae Young.
You've been trying to find John Morant a home this whole season.
I know.
And I respect the shit out of that, but I don't think it's not about Ja as a player to me. It's about his style. I don't think, at least where they're at with this roster right now, they want to play pick and roll heavy. I know it's going to happen. Every team needs to a little bit, but I'm more comfortable with just CJ being my main creator on ball instead of a John Morant at this point.
Would you go CJ McCollum, we bring him back on kind of a team-friendly deal? Or maybe, I just thought of something crazy. Because last episode we were talking John Morant somehow getting to Phoenix, and it was growing in my head. And I'm just like, what if it's like some I'm in on that. I'm like, what if it's some 3-teamer? Jalen Green ends up in Atlanta somehow. Like, then we just get that could be fun. But like, here's what I was gonna do. You could just go into the draft and say you had the Pelicans pick. Say it ends up at 5. You need a point guard. You draft Mikal Brown, who I think could be a good fit, or you draft Kingston Flemings, who could be a good fit. Like, you draft one of the guards that's available there, or Keaton Wagner, who can be a fit. And then you go like Ade Mara.
This is heavy. Yeah.
And then you go Ade Mara.
I liked what you're saying about Big O too, because Big O to me, I think it fits his type of player profile perfectly to be like off the bench center who come and it's like, hey, you go and you can chuck threes, block shots, get on that rim, like just be you. Like I think Onyeka is kind of to that point. Like Onyeka is like he's actually a very skilled big. That really shocked me. I did not think that was going to be the type of center he was.
No, not at all.
Here's what I'll say. Last thing I'll say about the Hawks, what you just said about the draft, like an idea where you get like a Keaton Wagner, that'd be unbelievable luck. But if you get that high pick guard and then a Ade Mara or a center in the back half of the first round, I'm in on just going through the draft. I'm not looking to make a trade because I think the Hawks front office and me, what I think they're thinking too. I think Jalen Johnson is still going to get to a level where you're comfortable with just being patient with him.
Yeah, I would. Because free agency isn't the greatest in terms of like shot creating guys. Like, yeah, sure, Austin Reeves is a free agent. He has a player option. He's going to opt out. That's sure. You could throw Austin Reeves a crazy bag to be your number 2. But I think getting CJ McCollum and then working through the draft, because you do have the Pelicans pick this season, and you do have your own pick as well, which is going to go to San Antonio, looking at it. So you're looking at, now you still have the Pelicans pick, so you're going to have a top 7-ish pick. Right now it's 7 on Tankathon. So like looking at how it's working, like it could go a number of different ways for the Hawks this offseason. I think they have a lot of yeah.
That's where I'm at.
I think he stays in LA though. He's for sure staying in LA. But I don't know. We can pivot to another team that lost today. The Orlando Magic. My dogs. I mean, Paulo needed some help. The only thing I really have to say is if I'm the Orlando Magic, I still stay the course. I still think you can get a better coach out there than Jamal Mosley, because I think the offense can just look better. I truly believe that. I truly think the offense can look better. There's too much talent on this team for the offense to look the way it does at times when they're fully healthy. When they have Suggs, Bane, Wagner, Banchero, Wendell Carter. Wendell Carter definitely showed me some things this series for sure. And then Anthony Black. But I do think there's a world where you can kind of better shape this roster, even outside of coach, just talking about just the roster itself. I think they definitely need to add another backup big, because Batasi was a DMP and Wagner was hurt all year, being the backup 5. So I think you could add a little bit more size there. But like, because I'm sitting here looking at Paulo's games, like I know he didn't have a ton of help. But I'm seeing Paulo out here hooping with no Franz. So I'm starting to think like, does that fit work?
I want to be very clear about something when it comes to this topic of the Orlando Magic. If they go into this offseason being like, shit, we're the 8 seed. We're the 8 seed and we took the 1 seed to 7 games. Like, we're getting there. Get the fuck out of my face.
That's why I said stay the course. You guys were
supposed to be better than Detroit this year anyways.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck that you were the 8 seed. Going into this year, you had 1 seed expectations for yourself. You were supposed to be so much better than what you are. And I think there is something to be said. If you want to – listen, they probably will choose Paulo. He was their number 1 pick, and I think he's a little better than Franz personally. I love Franz, though. I think you cash in on that right now and you trade away a Franz. I'm even looking at maybe moving to Anthony Black. I don't know, because I like Anthony Black, but if they really trusted him, he would have played more. I'm thinking of the idea you got to upgrade your point guard position, because I don't need to see Point Paulo all the time. And I think they need to go into this offseason like that was a failure of a year. I don't care that you just went 7 and surprised everybody. That happened because you guys are fucking ass all year. So I think they got some stuff they're going to do. I don't think they have the balls to break up Franz and Paulo, because I think they think both those guys are too good to trade right now. But the fit clear doesn't work. This is not a Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum situation. The difference between those two, they love to call themselves like the mini Jays. I see that online a lot. Paulo and Franz can't fucking shoot. The Jays could shoot their whole career. So you got to figure something out. I agree. I think you just got to get better in all areas. I guess it's easy to say, like, sure, try to upgrade any position. But the main thing isn't that there's a missing spot, because I like their lineup overall. It's how it flows and works together. I think a coaching change fixes that. And I think a potential trade and lineup change potentially fixes that.
Yeah. I mean, I was more with Corey. I think they stay the course a lot. Jalen Suggs just be so up and down for me sometimes. I mean, I was a big Anthony Black fan this year. Half of that was because he was on my fantasy team and he was going crazy. But I completely get what you're saying, Cole. Like, if they wanted him, they'd be playing him more. But I would not be against them trading Franz away. It's just I don't know what his value is in the market right now. He's just been injured the past 2 years. Kind of has been exposed at certain points of the season. I don't know. So
Give me three
I think
first,
they're going
Franz
to be
and
okay.
Anthony. Give me 3 first, Franz and Anthony. You can have G-Man.
I mean, if Milwaukee calls and says that, I think that they do that. But the issue with that is,
if Milwaukee, that's the best package Milwaukee probably gets. You're getting Franz and Anthony Black and 3 first. Like,
I want the
Jesus.
Silva too. I don't
think Orlando has any picks though, because they gave up 5 of them for Desmond Bane.
So they don't have their pick this year.
Yeah,
I'm looking at Tankathon. Their pick this year goes to Charlotte. So they're not in the lottery because they went and got into the playoffs. I have kind of a fun idea of like where they could possibly go, because I do like the idea of them adding at point guard of something that could definitely help elevate their roster. I just can't tell how far away they are, and I haven't seen them come off injury. But they're like an interesting like Dallas just has
Ooh.
Wait
Like
for it.
Dallas just has
Hold
so
on.
much shit to where I'm like, what if they did like? Because I'm looking at Tankathon, like obviously don't have the lottery, but I'm like, what if you traded like Franz and Anthony Black for like pick 8, Kyrie, PJ Washington, and like Lively or something, like some crazy package like that.
You think they can get that much from France?
No, I was just saying like a mix of players. Like who could you get with Kyrie in a trade with like Anthony Black and Franz? Could you get like Kyrie?
Dallas isn't putting Franz on the floor while Cooper tries to progress. I'm gonna be honest. And I like your thoughts though. There's no way.
If there's a
in
point
that
guard that they could
situation,
go get, I think
Anthony
Kyrie
Black
would be
play
an
has some
interesting.
value.
Because I'm
You
like,
think Anthony Black still got value? He probably
I
does.
don't know. I just think if Orlando had to go any route this offseason, I like Suggs off the bench, and I like them getting a better point guard. And now I'm sitting here, I'm like, they need an offensive point guard too, because the defense is fine. Obviously, a new coach is going to put in a new system and everything else like that. But I'm looking at the teams in the draft because Orlando doesn't have a pick, and you're looking at Franz as like a guy that can net you some picks. I don't like the fit with John Morant. I think that's still just no spacing, not enough room to create there. I'm like Kyrie could move me a little bit because he's a veteran guy still, and he's still, I feel like, coming off this ACL. Still got to see him play, obviously, but you put him on this young ass team that's competing in the East, like I can move. But the price is like I'm also not giving up Franz for an aging Kyrie coming off an ACL. I'm giving up Franz for like another guy. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, what if you got 8 and like Gafford to be another big that can defend for you, or like PJ Washington who can be another swing wing for you, like something like that, or like, you know what I mean? It would have to be a package, but I'm just living in a world where I'm like, man, what if like they can make something happen like that? That's where I'm at with the Orlando Magic.
What if a team like in Orlando's world? I'll say Orlando, but I think there's some other teams that could be thinking like this, and it'd be hard to pull this off. What if I'm maybe thinking some teams might overpay or not pay, but trade. I'm looking at trying to get AJ Mitchell to be a starting guard.
I can see it.
I just think that's the route I'd feel safer going than taking a chance on like a John Morant or like end of the year point guard. I'm like let me get a Peyton Pritchard, AJ Mitchell, like one of these guys on one of the really good teams that comes off the bench and come shoot the ball a lot for me. Like come be like a key like top guy for me. I would like to see that more than an older guy going down to be the point guard with Paolo. Because I think you still gotta go forward being like Paolo's got to be our one. I mean, he's a playoff riser. Like,
there's
Mitchell might be a crazy shout. OKC might be like, get the fuck off my phone.
Yeah. I just don't really know. I think there's a lot of interesting ways that they can go, kind of wrapping up the, like, us talking about Orlando Magic and where they're at. But I think they're in the world of, like, damn, I think there is something with how Paolo hooped in the playoffs without Franz. Because, I mean, he gave him 45 and he had 38 tonight. Like, he was hooping. Like, so it's like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, what if, like, they add another scoring guard and maybe some other role players, and then you're like, now we got Paolo, Baines, Suggs, another star caliber guard for Franz, then we got Wendell Carter, and then we add another big, but like there's some world that they can really tweak this roster with a new head coach where I'm just like, okay, maybe this is something. Like maybe they take a stab on somebody though. Like maybe they take a, like, I don't know. I gotta see kind of what the draft lottery ends up shaking out to be. Because I'm sitting here like Dallas could fuck around, win the lottery again, and then be cool and then not have to worry about shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, Dallas is an interesting team because like Orlando would be interested, I feel like, in somebody of like Kyrie Irving's caliber. But I'm just like, I don't know where other guard. Like, I don't know. Like, I need to see Franz's value as well. But Franz has been so injury prone. I feel like the past 2 seasons, to where it's like, how high is Franz Wagner's value truly? And the G-Man shit, like, I think if you get Giannis and like you're just running into the same shit. Yeah, you have Giannis who's like a better player than Franz, but then you're just like, or just leave Paolo. We kind of still have spacing issues a little bit. Kind of just a lot going on there. I like, if you're going to get Giannis, you're trading Paolo, because I feel like Franz is, I don't know. We're not going to get into the whole Giannis shit. But like, I don't know. I think Orlando's we should trade for a guard, see what Franz's value is, see how the draft lottery plays out. If there's any of those teams that move up crazy that have a guard that we like, and I like Cole giving AJ Mitchell, Peyton Pritchard a shout. But I just have a hard time seeing OKC letting one of their guys go in a trade like that for like a pick.
Just so stingy.
Yeah. Or I have a hard time seeing Boston trading conference Peyton Pritchard with a team that they could see in the first round of the play.
Yeah,
Like,
Boston need Peyton Pritchard bad right now. Like,
Yeah,
they got
yeah.
no buckets. Like,
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like the guy on Boston, like we said it in kind of the, but like Derek White could be somebody that could run some point guard for them. That could be,
He's ass.
but we'll see. We can kind of pivot off the Orlando Magic. We kind of talked
Think
about
about,
that for a
what do you
minute.
think of like a Colin Gillespie running point?
No,
Can we have Anthony Black? I'd love Anthony Black on the Suns.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
how are we feeling about Pods? How are we feeling about Pods right now?
Shit,
Pods in the first.
probably not very good.
Pods in the first.
Oh, fuck. If I had to watch Pods and Paolo go out there in the playoffs, that's
Man.
Torture ball.
Oh man, but we can get into another team that got eliminated, the Boston Celtics. Still, before we get into the Sixers, because we'll get into them in a preview, let's talk about the Boston Celtics a little bit. A team that, in my opinion, it got to the point in the season, because I'm seeing shit on Twitter, and I'm just like, no, it wasn't a gap year. Y'all were the 2 seed. Y'all were talking that shit all year about how high horse y'all were and how good you guys were. And then Embiid stepped out on the court and shut all that shit the fuck down because the center rotation was shit from the start of the year. Kata's a good backup center. You put him in a starting role. Yeah, he can work when you have a healthy Tatum, healthy Brown, Derek White playing the way he's playing in a Missoula-led system. Yeah, but like he, in my opinion, isn't a starting caliber big that can be on a contending finals team like they were. I thought the Jason Tatum stuff was a cool story, but I personally didn't like it. I would have just rathered him sat the whole year. Yeah, it came back and they were able to make a push. They needed him, but I'm just sitting here. I'm just like, I'm glad they didn't play him in that game 7, truly, because you never know what can happen. He had a lower leg injury again. I just think it's better to just sit him. And then I'm just like, Derek White didn't play his best. Peyton Pritchard, Joe Mazzulla put out that shit starting lineup. I don't know what he was doing.
That was weird.
Yeah, in a game 7, let me put Peyton Pritchard off my bench for no reason.
Let me put
He
Luka
changed it at
Garza and
halftime.
Ron Harper.
He put Pritchard back in there.
Yeah, I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I'll go quick on Boston because I'm not going to worry about them too much. I think they're going to be fine. I just trust their organization to make the right moves to be back in the spot next year with the fully healthy Tatum. They're still an elite team to me. Like, I don't think they have any like red flags going forward. They just didn't have very good players. And then the main thing is just we knew going into the year the center spot's like, holy shit. And then you have to go up against Embiid, who's playing really good like that. Like, that's just not a good recipe, not an excuse, because like we said, we can't call it a gap year when shit. Last time we were talking on here, I said that they're the best team in the East by far. They're going to the finals. Like, I was stamping it. Like, I was, because Tatum and Brown looked elite, and they're going to be elite going forward. Derek White, so my thing with him is he's a really good role player, but people thought he was going to make this amazing jump, and he just can't do that. I think Derek White, when they won the title, what he was doing was so special because of a guy like Drew Holiday being there as well. Like, they just had the perfect team. Like, Derek White needs that around him. He needs Jaylen Brown to be able to take the big Luka assignment. He needs Drew Holiday to take all these harder assignments. And he needs to be able to just be a really good communicator, team defender, and shot blocker. He's not this guy you can put all this responsibility on. I mean, he just kind of struggled in this series, and that's okay. I think when they're back fully healthy, he'll be back in that fourth option role where he should be, and it'll be all fine. Another thing to me, though, is Al Horford. They playoff Celtics for a long time, right? Since Al Horford's been there, has been really special because of what he's been able to bring them, and just the energy, the defense, just the
spacing.
He was a perfect player, and missing him and Drew, and then having Tatum kind of half in, half out, not getting a great Derek White shooting series, like, they were not going to win.
I'm glad you brought up a point about Derek White, because I think it's almost like a comparison. It's hard to like compare defenders, but it's almost like Drew Holiday to Derek White was like OG Anunoby to Mikal Bridges in a way. It's where like OG Anunoby is taking the bigger guard assignments, the bigger wing assignments, and then you have Mikal Bridges that can switch off from time to time. Drew Holiday is an all-world defender, and they're kind of talking about 4 different defenders in a way. But I just think it's kind of that dynamic of like Derek White being able to lean on Drew Holiday and being able to like lean on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown defensively. I think he had a lot of responsibility this season, being kind of the pseudo point guard sometimes, because a lot of times like Peyton Pritchard's either sometimes hot or cold, and like Peyton Pritchard, I feel like it's more of like just going out there to score, and that's what they needed him to do. and the 5 spot was like depleted this year. I think they just sold a little too much last offseason.
Yep.
Because, like, even though you're missing Jason Tatum, first team All NBA player, they sold so much. Like, they got rid of Horford, KP, Drew Holiday. Like, they gave up a lot of shit this past year. And for how good they were,
It was like they wanted it to be a no-pressure year.
They wanted it to be a no-pressure year, but then Jaylen Brown was like, fuck all that. And Joe Mazzulla was like, fuck all that. We're going to be good with what we have. And I think that's kind of what sold them short in this playoff series, because then you look at the playoffs and I'm looking at their rotation without Tatum, and I'm just like, fuck, this is a 2 seed right now we're looking at right here.
I think they got something with Hugo Gonzalez coming off their bench as a really good defender going forward, though, too.
I think Jordan Walsh is like a really good role player.
Yeah. No.
I think Kata can be a good rotational big, but a starting big in the playoff, like, that's just tough. Like, you're going up against Embiid. Like, they would have went up against Cat in the second round, like, and Mitch Robb. Like, I think it would have got a little bit rough in the second round, too.
I think you were just saying. Lineup? Go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
Corey, I know you were just saying like they sold a lot of their players. I feel like this time last year we were saying they had to, though. Like, it's a very valid thing that they had to do.
It's about, I can't blame them. I can't blame them for it at all, because they were getting off a lot of money. But it's also, and they were kind of in a gap year, which was, they thought they were going to be Pacers this year.
They kind of just went with it. Yeah, they thought they were going to be the Pacers. They kind of just went with it. And honestly, and I know there's always the no excuses thing, and like, you know, we were here, they were the 2 seed, so, you know, there is no excuses. But like, in my mind, it still is kind of a gap year. Like, I don't, obviously it sucks to lose in 7, the 3-1, like, but of course. But for me, at the end of the day, in 6 months when the season starts back up, I'm gonna still think of them like the Boston Celtics. They're still going to be a top 3 in the East, probably top 2.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
I don't put too much to it.
Now that I've seen Tatum fresh off the injury come back and play, and now with the offseason,
that was crazy.
Like,
It was crazy that he even came back.
He was elite. He was elite.
Exactly. Like, I made so much bread off him, bro, when he came back. Oh my god.
Nah, I mean, yeah, it was a gap year, but at the same time, Celtics fans were talking crazy this year.
They were.
And then when they got matched up with Philly, they were talking even crazier, and then they were making fun of Philly for the "we won Boston" chance. Well, we wanted Boston. I think they made one or two moves too many. I think getting rid of Horford, who has been a playoff riser for them, was kind of, I don't like that. I think they should have held on to him, especially, I mean, Corey, you saw how good or not so good he was.
Yeah. I would have tried to. I would have tried to keep. I would have tried to keep Drew Holiday.
Mine was Drew.
Yeah, I would have tried to keep Drew Holiday. I think Drew, if you got to the deadline, at worst, if you got to the deadline, Drew Holiday's netting you some shit for a contending team. Like, even if he was making too much bread, like, he's still netting you like a good return. Like, you know what I mean?
He also didn't
like,
have a good playoffs last year, so it was easier for them to move off.
Shit, because he was like the 5th or 6th option on that team.
$32 million this year. So I mean, I kind of get why they moved him, but the other move I was gonna say was that I think they will regret was trading Anthony Simons, who they got for Holiday, for Vooch, who was borderline unplayable. I mean, he was unplayable Game 7.
That's one thing I forgot to say.
Awful. I mean, Embiid
hated that
every time he got matched up. It was barbecue chicken.
It made sense for Mazzulla ball and how they shoot the 3 and how he can be a floor spacing 5. But there are times where I'm looking at Anthony Simons. Like, Anthony Simons is a guy who can just all of a sudden go off in a Game 7 and have 30. Like,
they shot like 29%, 25% from 3 in Game 7. They needed another guy who can at least hit a shot.
Yeah.
Simons would have been huge.
Because their bench is full of just defenders.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, their style is what hurt them more than anything in this game.
I was just about to go there.
We can talk about the guys they had out there, but those guys are playing their ass off, doing what they're supposed to do. Like, I don't really think anyone was playing that bad. Like, I guess, all those guys he started, like Shire, although they had 0. But either way, that all stemmed to me from them just chucking threes. And yes, they're able to climb back in, but that was more when Jaylen Brown said, fuck this, I'm going to start getting downhill a little bit. He had to hit a couple tough ones too, but it's more the stylistic stuff. And I know when Tatum's out there, that type of stuff looks a lot cleaner because they actually get open looks versus just chucking. But
yeah,
can I piggyback off that? Yeah. Off just the Mazzulla ball? I'll say this. I think Joe Mazzulla is a phenomenal coach in this league.
Oh, yeah.
I think the Celtics are a team that I can kind of say have been disappointed.
Yeah.
The Celtics have been I have their last 5 years, including this one, of the playoffs.
It's so hard to win a championship, bro.
It's hard to win a championship. It's hard to win a championship. But I think the Boston Celtics, for example, have gone out in just like insane fashion some years. Looking at Okay, so the Ime Udoka year, they lose in the finals. That's when they lost to Curry and the Warriors. Next season,
Disappointing is crazy.
not saying this. I'm saying this past 5 years. Because when they played the Golden State Warriors, they were heavy favorites. Everybody thought they were going to beat the shit out the Warriors. So they lose this finals against the Warriors. You played the Warriors, veteran team, everything like that. And trust me, I was a Warriors fan. The Warriors were heavy underdogs in that series.
It's still Steph, bro. I'm not buying Vegas odds on that.
Then the next year, you fire Ime Udoka has his shit. Joe Mazzulla gets the nod. You go 57-25. You lose in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Tatum got hurt first play, Game 7.
Yep, that's the Game 7 year. Insane fashion. I'm not saying disappointed in like they've underplayed, but it's just like, wow, Tatum does. Yeah. Tatum rolls his ankle Game 7. What a fucking way to go out after the year you lost to Steph in the final. Like, that's 2 back-to-back tough years. You have all the shit with Ime. Then 64-18, you win the finals. You beat Dallas in convincing fashion in the finals. Then you lose in the semis last year, and the way you lose, while Jason Tatum is having a historic game in the Garden, tears his Achilles. You lose to the Knicks in the second round. Now this year, you're up 3-1. Tatum plays in the first 6 games. Joel Embiid laces him up, and he sends you packing in the first round. Like, it's just not saying disappointing and like they're underplaying in the playoffs, but it's just like, I feel like whenever Boston loses, it's like some like, damn, like, how did you lose to Miami? Like, when you were down 3-0. Tatum, of course, rolls his ankle in Game 7. He like tears his Achilles in the second round. Like, Joel Embiid comes back, and it's all of a sudden Joel Embiid's like just off top of the world. Like it's just crazy. Yeah, like I just think they've had some situations where I'm like, man, that's tough. There's a tough blow. But then I'm like, there's also times where I'm watching Boston legit shoot themselves out of the game. Like, Boston's been disappointing in the right of, this is a championship level team that's won a title, that's been proven that last year blew 2 20-point fucking leads at home to New York in the second fucking round in the first 2 games. At home, up 20 plus.
Right.
So, like, I'm saying they're both, like, disappointing and, like, they lose in some insane ways in the playoffs sometimes, but I'm also looking at them as, like, yes, I think Joe Mazzulla is a good coach, but there's sometimes they're just completely losing games they shouldn't because they shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, they just have high expectations there, so it just looks a little different when they lose versus other teams. But I'm not worried about the Celtics long term. I mean,
I'm not either. I was just trying to make a point
as
of like
Sixers
kind of
fan, I'm worried because I don't want to deal with them. But yeah, no, they'll be fine.
But we can kind of get into the 76ers. Stoll, you have the floor, and then we can pivot into, after you talk about the Sixers, we can get right into Sixers Knicks preview, because that game is also tomorrow.
I mean, it's just, it doesn't, like, when they were down 3-1, I was like, I mean, yeah, it's Sixers Celtics, like it's always been. Embiid said it like 7 years ago at this point. It's not a rivalry. They always kick our ass. I was on the pod saying it's not a rivalry. They always kick our ass. And this year, we finally beat them, and it felt so good. I didn't even get to watch the whole game because I was at a wedding, but I'm checking my phone every like 30 seconds, just watching the score. Embiid played so good. He was just dominant. The Celtics had no answer for him. When he wasn't hitting shots, he was making the right read. Maxey, the combination of speed and shooting is truly like, there's not a whole lot of guys like him in the league. Paul George really looked good. Crazy as it sounds, that 25-game suspension might have saved the Sixers season.
Paul George been hooping all series.
Yeah,
defensively as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had Jason Tatum getting around frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, he really showed why he is like considered a very talented two-way forward. And then Edgecombe, the rookie, Game 7, the lights were not too bright for him. I think he had 23 points or something like that. He had 4 threes. I mean, he has been so good. And honestly, like, if they can beat the Celtics in that fashion, I believe in this team. They can extend this. They can make this series pretty interesting. I don't know if they'll win, but I have never been so happy to be wrong in my life.
They are an interesting team because Paul George can be playing great, Max can be playing great, Edgecombe can be playing great. It's all going to come down to Joel Embiid. They legit came back down 3-1 against a team that has always consistently wiped their ass in the playoffs. because Joel Embiid came back and he was healthy. Yeah,
This is the first
34-12.
time.
34-12 and 6.
Yeah.
This is the best chance I think Philly's had to go to the finals in the Joel Embiid era, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
I think if they
Absolutely.
beat the Knicks, they're going to the finals.
Yeah,
And Joel Embiid's
because
healthy.
you've already beaten the Celtics and the Knicks. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
the
stay
Cavs
healthy.
or Pistons. Like,
Yeah.
and even then, you know, you can stop sending that stupid Drewski meme if they can get to the ECF. You can stop sending it every time some major event happens. You're the first one to send that.
So it's so
It's
funny.
so funny.
It's so funny.
Brandon Przemski 30 ball before Embiid EC.
It's
I mean,
so funny every
it is
single
funny.
time.
It is a funny meme. I will give you that. It's just
So
what's that?
I will say, I'm glad you won this game because if you didn't, and then the very next day you got to watch Tobias Harris have 30 in a Game 7 for a different team,
Yeah,
that would have been some funny shit. My favorite thing about your Sixers, though, is you're kind of, and I know that you can't rely on this from everyone and everyone to be clicking, but throughout the comeback, I mean, you're just kind of getting everything from everyone that you need. Like you guys already touched on Paul George. I mean, Andre Drummond's been an elite backup center just for what they need him to do.
Yeah.
I obviously Edgecombe, your rookie's clicking. Like that's something you didn't know you were going to get going into this year. You didn't know you were going to hit to a point to where you have this explosive rookie that he doesn't. My favorite thing about Edgecombe is he doesn't make it to where other guys have to help him out for him to progress, or he just was able to fit in just seamlessly. Like without, he's like, what can my role be? I'm going to do that exactly like that. He's not slowing
Nobody has to
them
change
down.
their style.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was trying to say. I think what maybe makes any of this surprising, like, okay, Boston was minus 900 to win this series. We didn't know when Embiid would be back. Embiid came back, and he's one of the best players in the world. He's their guy. I think that a lot of people aren't fully realize that, like, they also have a top 15 player in the NBA with Tyrese Maxey as well. And that's a pretty elite thing. Like you have two top 15 players. I mean, that's what's given Boston a upper hand on a lot of series because they just have had the best duo. You know, you look at Jamal Murray and Jokic when they won. They had the best duo. I mean, even going back to when my Bucks won, the way Chris Middleton played in that playoffs. I mean, we were more of a trio with Holiday for sure, but just that 1-2 punch of we have an elite big and we have an end of shot clock guy. He's going to give you a bucket. That's a recipe to win an NBA championship. I'm not saying the Sixers are there and then beating a hurt Boston team with Tatum. I didn't mean it like that. With them winning that Game 7 and just getting past a Boston team in their gap year doesn't make them a contender by any means. But the way their roster is constructed, if they can get everyone to play their part, they have the exact recipe to go on a run.
I mean,
and we can kind of get into that too with the Knicks, but you can go ahead, Sol.
I was just gonna say, I mean, the only reason they were in a 7 seed was because Maxey, he hurt his thumb towards the end of the year. Paul George was dealing with suspension, and Embiid was dealing with all his stuff. Like they lost a lot of games towards the end of the year. I mean, they at one point they were as high as like the 4 seed. You know, they could have been playing the Cavs. So it's really funny how it all worked out. And this is the first time that Philly has beaten Boston in the playoff series since 1982. Literally none of us. Yeah. None of us were alive to see any of this. So this is like
What?
This is a historic. Yes, 1982, and the first time ever that Philly has come back down 3-1 in a series. So I mean, this is like a truly historic moment. Yeah, I don't even care. Like, you know, there's another series after this, and honestly, like, I'm good. Like, I'm happy with how this turned out.
Right.
You kind of unlocked a take for me a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, everybody talks about how like the East is like this inferior conference to the West. And I think in some aspects it is.
100%.
But like,
At the
I don't know
top.
if it's like they just like disappointed. There was a world where the Orlando Magic won and the 1 and 2 seeds in the East were out.
Yeah.
Does
Like,
that
I'm
mean
just-
the East is whack? Does that mean it's even more whack?
I think-
or do you
I
mean
think
that
that-
Yeah, it
makes
does.
it-
I think
it
it-
does.
I think
I
it
mean,
might
that's
be.
what it
I think
means.
it. But like, it's like weirdly because I'm saying it both at the same time. I'm like, man, does it make it more wet because the top teams are
I
a
know
little
what you're saying.
soft?
No,
But it's like,
yeah.
but it's
They're
like
like
it's deeper.
all
Yeah.
they're all very similar.
Like the West
gap
top
between-
are very
I'm just playing.
yeah.
I'm just playing.
The gap between the Suns and OKC was definitely there because of how good OKC is, but the Suns are still a very good team.
Yeah.
But the gap between Detroit and Orlando, or Celtics and Philly, isn't as
Mhm.
big because I'm looking at those two teams. I was like, the only reason their records were the way they were because they were hurt.
Yep.
Orlando had injuries all year, underperformed all year. Same with Philly, underperformed all year because they were hurt. And then when they got matched up against Boston, who matched up with Philly, who's a tough-ass matchup, and Orlando, who's a tough-ass matchup for Detroit, I think all the higher seeds in the first round had a tough matchup. Yeah, the Hawks ended up running out of gas against the Knicks. But there was a point in that series where you're like, damn, the Knicks and the Hawks are kind of hooping. But then it's like Toronto takes the Cavs 7.
Okay, Nick, do your Suns beat Detroit round 1?
I think
They go
Ahmed
seven.
would have given Devin too much
Sorry, yeah.
pressure. Oh yeah, sorry.
Well,
Booker don't feel
Their
pressure.
defense would have just been. We don't have any big that could have done anything to Duran. He would have had his way more than
Corey wants to say
he did
that
against the Magic.
No, you brought up a good point. Darren probably would have feasted. Darren
that's
probably would have
a
got
bad
paid
matchup.
$45 million
He would have had
this
his. I mean, it's
offseason.
so Iguodaro.
He's still
Come on.
good. He has hey, the
Yeah,
biggest
yes.
winner today was Jalen Duran.
Yeah,
because
he
he has a
gets more
chance
games.
to get his money. Yeah, that's all
yeah,
he needed.
Yeah, he does.
That's all he
he
needed.
gets a second chance.
But you know what's crazy? Another team that might have given Detroit problems, like Portland. Like Portland might have gave Detroit problems.
Oh, for sure would have given Detroit problem.
I don't know.
I ain't gonna lie,
I don't know
Cade
if they
was
win,
still
but they
good
give them
anyways,
problems for sure.
Yeah,
I feel like
but-
Detroit was beating themselves just as much as the Magic were beating them.
Highly agree.
Yeah.
Highly agree.
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Because they
I
were
mean, the Magic
they
were scoring
showed
like
at the
fucking
end of the
90
season.
points.
Mhm.
They showed by the end of the series. Once Detroit kind of figured it out a little bit, they were superior to Orlando, and we
It
didn't
just-
feel that in first 4 games at all. Obviously,
It just sucks because everybody on the Magic outside of Paulo was just a no-show for Game 7. It's like they all just said, all right, fuck, we didn't win Game 6. All right, here we go. We're just going
They're
to
ready.
they were
lose
like,
this.
"Shit, we need to get Jamal fired. We can't." win
Yeah,
today."
yeah. Fuck it. I was like,
We can't move on, guys.
fuck. But no, I think my take was just like, the East is like so interesting because the East could be like this even next year, where it's like you have a 7-8 seed that any other year with like a 5-game stretch of somebody on their team being healthy could be the 4-3 seed. Like you're looking at next year, you're adding the Pacers back into the mix healthy with the possible top 4 pick. And then you're like, Boston's going to be better. You're looking at Philly could always be better or worse. You're looking at Orlando could be better or worse. Like all these teams could be better or worse. And then you're like,
Giannis might be in the play-in. He
yeah,
might
like,
sneak a spot.
oh, you
know,
might
don't-
see.
I'm saying,
Might
you
be a
might
lot
see
better.
Phylon and Giannis in the playoffs together next
Right.
year. I'm
Don't
just
forget,
saying.
Washington added Trae Young and Anthony Davis, to go with that young
Ooh,
core.
if
And
they
they're
make
going to have
the
a high pick,
playoffs.
too.
They got to show me some. I ain't go just go ahead. Just they got to show me
Yeah,
something.
I mean, I think it's
They
they
gotta
could
get
get a
Darren
10
Peterson.
seed. They can get a 10
They
seed.
got,
They can get
if
it.
they get Darren Peterson, they will.
Right?
No,
They
they had AJ or Caleb Wilson to what they got going on,
That's-
Yeah.
or Darren Peterson. Like they go have some.
on paper,
AD
that's
gonna be
not a
on
bad.
Portland by trade deadline.
Is
some shit
Trae-
That'd be
that.
crazy.
Trae
That'd
Johnson,
be
Buck
crazy.
Harrington, like those are solid
gonna
dudes. But
I do
no,
think the East has like a weird like anybody can be anybody mentality.
lots of parity. I
Like
it.
if you're in the playing out East, it's
Charlotte
way
Lurkin.
different than being the playing out West.
Yeah, playing out west is
Playing out east is like we got to get in. We might win a series.
right. Playing
We're
out
talking about
west.
playing this. We're talking about playing the Spurs and OKC to a depleted Boston team with a somewhat healthy Tatum, and then we're playing the Detroit Pistons who have
Cade.
never, and Cade, and Cade in them. To where it's like I'm sitting here watching Phoenix Portland like a month ago, like a couple weeks ago. At this point, I'm sitting here, I'm like, wow, Portland really
Hopeless.
didn't want to play OKC that bad when they're beat the fuck out the Suns. they didn't want to play OKC that bad.
Like 5 minutes left.
They didn't want to play OKC that bad. They went and stole one off San Antonio and said, you know what? We weren't stealing shit off OKC. We'll take that. But Orlando fucking took them 7 out the
Yep,
bro.
Shit,
Philly's in the
Orlando
second
lost.
round, bro. Like
I didn't believe it. I think when we did our
I
playoff
can't even
prediction,
group Phil. Sorry, let me catch you
I
off.
was gonna say like a core. I think we both had Boston in like 4 or 5.
it's a tale of this time, I think I said.
If
Yeah.
we being honest though, we group Philly with the top teams in the East. We don't group them with like Orlando's, Toronto's,
Yeah.
Atlanta's. You know, what I
They're
mean?
just they're in
Yeah.
that question mark tier. Like if healthy, they're up there. But if they're
Yeah.
not, they're not great.
They're like in
but-
that Cleveland tier. Like they're good, but not Cleveland's better in the regular season. But like Cleveland hasn't. Mitchell hasn't gone to a conference final. Like they haven't been in a conference final since LeBron.
They're not proven. They're not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Like New
that's
York and Boston are more proven.
Yeah.
and I think
New
that's a
York
good
wins in the
segue into our series prediction. What I was saying earlier too is like if the Sixers are healthy and they're locked in, like they can win this series against the Knicks. Will they? I don't think so. I think the Knicks win in 6. But man, you get to
Knicks
a
in
game
6.
7. I
think
wouldn't.
Right. It could be gross.
So I'm going Knicks in
I'll
6.
go
I just
ahead.
think the Knicks are just too deep. The Sixers, for as good as their starting 5 can be healthy, their bench is just atrocious. Quentin Grimes is okay. He's solid. Drummond is playable at times.
He's a good backup big. He's a great backup big.
He's an okay
For
backup.
what they ask him to do,
I've watched a lot of Sixers basketball this year. There are times when Andre Drummond is very bad.
he's been good since the play-in started. Is what I'm more going for. I'm not sitting here saying he's been great. Since the play-in started, he's been good.
Yeah. But other than like those two guys, there's no one. I mean, they have a 7-man rotation, and the Knicks have a very deep, talented roster that matches up well against Philly. I think their only shot is if they can get Maxey matched up on Brunson and get Embiid matched up on Cat, and just hope that the New York guards miss their shots, because I can't live through another Josh Hart Magnet Ball series. I just can't. That 2023 series was so stupid.
I agree with you on the bench part. That's kind of where I was going to go.
Mhm.
I just don't know if Philly, now we're in the second round, you're playing every other day. So, like, you're not getting the same rest you were in the first round for Embiid coming off the injury. You're playing Paul George a lot of minutes. Maxey, I think, led the league in minutes played this year.
Yeah.
Like, now you're looking at him on a deep playoff run, like, in the second round. The Knicks, I'm not going to say the Knicks are a way deeper team. I think the Knicks just have maybe 1 or 2 more guys off the bench that they can go to in certain situations to give Brunson a rest, McCallum a rest. Like, they can go a little bit deeper. And I think Philly definitely has a shot in this series, because we've also seen New York just play bad and just not be up to the level and play down to the competition. But I do think New York's the better team.
I agree.
I think Maxey and Edgecombe would have to have the series of their life.
Maxey's good for it.
I think Maxey, because I think Maxey's
he gonna get like 27 in the game plus.
But I do think they have to win one of these first 2 in New York to make it a full series. For me, because I just think there's a world where you're playing every other day. Embiid's gonna have to be consistently elite, like big time stretch here in the second round. Like, and there's a world like if the appendix is not like he's coming off an ACL or a strain or like anything crazy like that, still surgery to talk about, but it's not like he's coming off of like a sprain, high ankle sprain that he kept him out for so long and he's like limited. So it's not like he's coming off that. But I'm interested to see what Paul George you get and what VJ Edgecombe you get. Yes, VJ Edgecombe's been great. Now it's in the second round. Lights get a little bit brighter in the Garden. Like, it's against a team that beat you a couple years ago. Like, I think I'm going to lean the Knicks still in 7, but I do think it's going to be a good series. I think it's going to be a great series. I think both Philly and New York, I mean, both the home games are going to be fucking insane. Like, I'm so glad we have that game tomorrow for his kick off the second round, because it's going to be absolutely insane in the Garden. But I just think New York's a little deeper for this series, and I think that might give them the edge. And Brunson's just been fucking elite against the Sixers, dude. Like, he's just been insane against Philly. And I don't think Philly really has a matchup for him. They could probably try to throw VJ on him, because VJ was really good on Derek White in the second half of Game 7 when Derek White was popping off. But I just think New York just has a slight edge.
It would be a big test, though.
And it sucks because I can't even use the argument of like, oh, they made that dumbass Jerry McCain trade, but I'm just like, where's Jerry McCain really fit in this series? That's probably just another Jalen Brunson hunting matchup, like, that he would go out there and get. Like, it's hard to get to this stage in the playoffs and like not have a concrete 7-8 guys you can go to for real.
You want Edgecombe and Maxey above 35 minutes a game anyways.
Yeah.
People can say what they want about that McCain trade. It's more just because they gave him to OKC.
I think he would just been another guy at least that they could throw in for some rotational minutes. Like because I'm looking at Quentin Grimes and I'm just like, Quentin Grimes gave you nothing in Game 7 and like the bench gave you nothing. So it was just like, fuck. Like, at least if McCain was there, he'd be like at least another ball handler shooter that you could put in there. But that was all my take. But I don't know. I got the Knicks in 7. I think they're the deeper team, and I just think Brunson in the playoffs is just that guy.
Nick
usually is. Yeah, I mean, I would also lead Knicks in 7, but I think the Sixers are very much alive here.
Yeah.
very much. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Maxey's one of my favorite players in the league. Obviously, Joel playing this good. Obviously, as you guys said, the Knicks are the deeper team, but they have had minutes in this playoffs and in the regular season where those bench minutes do not look very good. And people have been kind of calling for the starters to be playing more minutes. And if they're kind of stubborn to that idea, then I could see the Sixers kind of taking an upper hand on that. But like you said, obviously they are much more talented, so it's going to be an amazing series. I think it does go 7, but I would probably slightly lean the Knicks, but I would be lying if I said I'm not rooting for the Sixers, because I very much am.
That's fair. I mean, only one way to find out, right?
The most exciting thing about this series is that these two teams are coming off the highest of highs of their seasons by far, and as it should be. I mean, you're coming off of a playoff series win, but I'm more saying in the fashion they did it. You got New York, who was being really doubted with how they looked all of round one. Can Brunson be the number one guy that can take you on a run? Is he too small? All these different questions, right? McCall Bridges' worst trade in NBA history. Blah, 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 all of this, right? But then you go out and you just shit kick them. Like, I mean, it wasn't even fun. It was fucking unbelievable, honestly. And so that taste is left in our mouth. And then on the other side, you got Philadelphia with Joel Embiid coming back in, and they come back down 3-1 to get over the hump of beating Boston. Like we've talked about it, how that just never happens, right? So these two teams are just like, they're feeling so good. How are they going to respond with that? And I have a theory about the New York Knicks, and it's not that Jalen Brunson isn't good enough to be your number one. I don't trust the New York Knicks to be able to have a real home court advantage in the playoffs unless they have an unbelievably overpowered team. Because instead of you're going into an environment like OKC or just one of the best home environments, I mean, teams love to play on the road against the Knicks. Teams get up for that shit. It's not a problem for teams, and that's something I would be excited for if I was a Philly fan right now, because it's like we can get one of these games. Atlanta went in there and got a game. Everyone wants to go steal a game in the Garden. It's the aura of the Garden. It's just what it is. I'm not saying they aren't at an advantage when they're home. They are at somewhat of one, but it's not something I trust in the playoffs to where that game 7 is like, shit, we're at home, we can do this. That's just a little theory I have about them. And then on the other side, I mean, listen, I want to give CJ McCollum his flowers. I thought Jalen Johnson was fine in this series. He didn't like rise up to another level. He just kind of was the player that he was all season. So respect him for that, because he didn't play bad by any means. And Onyeka, right? Like he's a 6'8" center, damn near 6'9" maybe. Obviously big wingspan, plays bigger than his size. It's gonna be a real wake up call when Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid are now going up against you. And OG, we're going to need another level from you defensively. McCall, you're going to have to step it up. I remember when he played for the Suns. I mean, he got over a screen like no other. And I can see them throwing him on Maxey, and he's just going to die on a screen like he has been since he's gotten in a New York Knicks jersey. And it's just going to be a real – they're going to have to find ways with using Mitchell Robinson minutes to guard Joel Embiid. And I just think that they're going up against two guys offensively who are on a whole nother stratosphere than anyone Atlanta had. And do I think Brunson's going to get his? Yes, but I think Maxey's going to match him. And then Embiid's the best player in the series. That's just what it is. Listen, Karl Anthony Towns was the biggest and most talented guy last series, and it took him 5 fucking games to realize that. You're no longer the biggest and most talented guy. You're going up against maybe the most talented guy in the fucking league, Joel Embiid. I mean, this is a different animal, and I'm not just saying this. I'm not just drinking the Kool-Aid of them coming off a 3-1 comeback. I think Philly has the better players. We can talk depth all we want, but the Knicks' depth's unreliable to me anyways. I got Philly at 7 and maybe 6. I'm going to go 7 because I want to see a game 7 in this series. I got Philly. I think Tyrese Maxey.
Can I say what you're about to say?
He's better than Jalen Brunson.
I think Tyrese Maxey is in a lot of dangerous combos that people aren't ready to have. I think he's closer to Donovan Mitchell than you guys think.
He is.
No, you guys. I think he's closer to D-Mitch. I think he's closer to Devin Booker.
He's better than Devin Booker.
I think Maxey is closer to the top 8-10 in the league than people think.
Maxey's closer to Cade than he is Booker.
Okay, I see what you I had to think about it for a second. I mean,
Maxey can play the 1.
I've been calling it. I was fighting for my life in our group chat, trying to say Maxi's better than LaMelo, and not you guys, but there were some of our friends who were like, "No way, LaMelo Ball's better." I'm like, "Well, just okay." Fighting for my life, Cole. Yeah, it was.
That's horrible.
Maxey
I'm
has
sorry you
played-
had to do that.
Maxey has played himself into
He's so
some,
fucking
a different.
clear of LaMelo.
It's
He's so fucking clear of LaMelo.
Trust
Are
me.
you?
I think I still would probably go. Him and Brunson are a toss-up. I think that's where the list he would like be right at the list is where Brunson is probably currently in the outside of the top 10.
I mean,
If I had
If
to
the-
rank every player, but like Maxey is like he is like so good to he's I was saying this all year. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at Philly, I'm like, man, Maxey, VJ, fuck around, keep Paul George for a couple of years. I'm like, fuck, maybe it's the time to kick the tires on Embiid and just start building around Maxey. Then I see Joel Embiid come back off the appendix and just
He's a little too good to do that. Right
the
now.
trail when they do the trail action, and you get Embiid downhill against a big, and he just midi pull up. It's just butter. It's just fucking butter. Like it is crazy, but I think Tyrese Maxey is like, and he.
I mean,
he
him and
gave-
Curry are a combo right now.
I mean, we're not gonna get fucking crazy on the pod.
I'm
but,
saying
like,
right now. I just
Yeah,
like
like-
this season.
this version of Curry,
This
season?
this version of Max, yeah.
Yeah, he's on Curry's level.
Curry
for sure.
missed hella time. Like it's just a tough combo
That's
to
fine.
have.
Maxey.
Maxey
I would
plays the most
say-
minutes in the league.
Yeah, Maxey's bad. Maxey's better than
I'm
Brunson.
getting that from him.
Yeah,
Cole, why you
Maxey's-
bring that up, man? I
I'm
love
just
Tyrese
saying.
Maxey. You can't bring
I
my.
love Curry. I love Curry.
You know what
It's
I
just
do?
the truth.
You know what I do? I don't even like rank like people and players with LeBron and Curry. They're just in
I
just
can't.
their
I
own
can't
tier.
either.
It's
It's
just like
fair.
I'm like I ain't never saying fucking Booker better than LeBron. The fuck you
Right.
talking about?
It's crazy to say.
I hate
but-
to
Right.
say, I hate to say, but so like those guys I take out of there. Like I just take Curry and Bron because it's just like they can be the best nigga in the world, like at any given point in time, like in a moment, in a series, like they can just be the best player in the world.
I mean,
at
those
certain
Olympics,
moments.
man. That Olympic doc.
Listen, D. Mitch and Brunson, I love you guys. Maxey not getting dropped off by Hallie last year.
Cool.
If he's on their teams, if he's on their roles on their teams, Maxey not getting dropped off by it.
I don't know.
I don't know. He might. Hallie
He
might.
might.
He might. Hallie was on, bro. Hallie went to OKC game one, played shit all game, said, "Let me get that rock, the game on the line."
It
He
was
took
team of
OKC
destiny.
7.
It was team of
Halliburton
destiny.
is like he's in his own little pocket right now. I can't
Halliburton-
say no.
Gotta see him next year.
Yeah, we gotta see him next year because he went on. He beat the Bucks, Cavs, Knicks, took OKC. I ain't seen a team take OKC over 5 games, and I feel like Denver did it. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, OKC put belt to the Timberwolves last year, and got taken 7 by the Indiana Pacers. I'm sitting here looking at the finals. I'm like, how good is the Pacers for real? The Pacers could have won the finals last year.
Yeah.
Like,
It was the
I-
They were
flukiest run
going
of
to
all
win
time.
Game 7.
yeah,
They were going to win Game 7.
I can't put Halliburton. I can't do that yet. I can't
I
say
He's
can't.
that.
better than
Hallie.
Halliburton, though. It's fair for you to say he's not beating Hallie last year with
Yeah,
how the run was
that's
going.
where I was
He's a
going.
better player than Halliburton.
Yeah, I
Right.
could go. I can get that. I can get on that. But Pacers were the team of destiny last year.
Yes, I'm with you.
They might have just beat anybody. Like they took OKC 7. Like I don't know. Maxey is just like he's in a lot of dangerous conversations. But we can pivot to Cavs Pistons, which is an interesting series. Because I think my take was before we started recording, I was just sitting here looking at the Cavs, and I'm just like, why is nobody in the East proving themselves to me? Why am I looking at the Knicks who just beat the Hawks by like however many points? And I'm sitting here, I'm just like, nah, but Philly though, fucking Philly,
It's parity,
they
man.
could.
The only team you can really fully believe in,
Yeah.
honestly.
And I'm sitting here, I'm like, why are the Cavs getting taken 7?
Yeah, that's whack.
No BI for half the series, no Emmanuel quickly, and I'm sitting here watching Scott.
Shit,
Same
they
thing.
turned up once BI went down.
Kind of what we said about Tyrese Maxey before we get into it heavy. Scotty Barnes closer to a lot of combos than people think too.
Yeah. Scotty
He's
Barnes
offensively, he was-
Paulo.
played
Scotty's good.
a hell of a
He
series.
is. He's better than Paolo. His defense
Oh, yeah.
is out of this world. I think he's the best defender in the league outside of Wemby. He was able to go stride for stride with D. Mitch, a full court.
I don't know if I take him over Giannis, but like top 3, top 5.
Wait, what?
No defense.
Defense. I was like, okay.
Wait, what?
Okay.
One ball than Giannis. Like if you put him on like a guard,
sure,
like
for
he's
sure, for sure.
Yeah,
stride for
Giannis
stride.
just has that wingspan, man. Like he doesn't have the quickness, but like he's just
Giannis is an elite roamer.
Yeah. You put a good 5 next to him that can shot block and he's your roamer. Like it's gonna be tough. But
Yeah.
like Scotty Barnes, to me, it showed offensive leaps in the playoffs with no BI, no Emmanuel quickly, where I'm like, he took the step. Like offensively against Evan Mobley, he was a decoy. Like against the Cavs team, we're kind of talking about Toronto a little bit, but like the Cavs to me are like going into the series is like I think the Cavs should handle business, but I also see the Cavs play soft.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
The Cavs play The Cavs play soft.
They do.
They are a soft basketball team. I think Evan Mobley plays way too soft. I think Jared Allen. Yes, if you get Jared Allen that was hooping in the third and fourth quarter of this game, in the elimination game, they should wipe the floor with Detroit. But they're not, because now Jalen Duren's about to get the fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
And the Pistons are about to be like, all right, we got by the only team in the Eastern Conference that can probably out-bully us with their size on the wing. Now they're going to look at the Cavs and be like, we can compete
Jalen
with
Duren
y'all.
about to play against a decoy, though.
Right, but
you can
Donovan
say he's soft, but
I've also
Donovan
seen
just got-
Mitchell Robinson look like a $25 million a year center against this Cavs team. I know it was a couple years ago, but I've also seen Julius Randle look elite against this Cavs team. But I just don't. I think the Cavs, to me, the reason why I think that, one, they're unproven. It's just like, there's just times where I'm looking at the Cavs, I'm like, y'all should just be beating the fuck out of the Raptors right now. Like, y'all should, like, why are we even playing with the Raptors? Why do we even go 7 games with this hurt Raptors team? I know it's a tough matchup, but I'm just like, damn, D. Mitch shooting terrible. Harden shooting terrible. If they didn't,
Mobley's not the problem.
I don't think
Mobley was
he
good.
is, but I can just see a world where like Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart in Detroit, like just get after them.
Those two can't play at the same time, though, and Jarrett Allen and Mobley can.
I'm interested to see because Detroit, I feel like might have had their wake up call.
Yeah,
I'm going Cavs in this series, and I'm gonna
I
go Cavs in
like
6. I'm going Cavs in 6, but
I'm going Cavs in 7.
I'm not gonna be
concerned
shocked.
about who's going to guard Cade.
No, they don't have no way for Cade. Cade's
No
gonna get
way.
Where
his.
the fuck is Keon Ellis? Is he hurt?
He's playing. No, he's just getting
Still getting
EMPs.
he'll get no PT.
He played in 4 of the games. That shit's weak. I was talking crazy. About
Crazy as it sounds.
Yeah, I was too. But Sam Merrill gets the nod over Keon Ellis.
Yeah, crazy as it
They
sounds
gotta
though.
go.
Do you put Mobley on Cade?
No, he's frying Mobley.
I mean, he's playing off. You let him.
He's
shoot.
no, he
I wouldn't be surprised if Keon gets more run in this series.
he should. Keon's gonna get more
He
run.
should, but I don't know. Cade's 6'8", man. Like
We're going to the.
Yeah.
Jalen
SG.
Tyson. Dean Wade going to get some possessions on Cade. I'm going to throw up.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Cade is frying
gonna be
anybody on the
ugly. It's
Hawks.
gonna be
He's
ugly.
frying anybody on the Cavs. Like he's
Yeah,
just
like
Cade's gonna get his.
They're going to put
Because, you
Jalen
know,
Tyson on him.
you can live with D Mitch on Tobias Harris and Duncan Robinson. Okay, and then I don't know. I think we legit see some Evan Mobley on Cade. Not like ISO or anything like that, but like in switches. I don't hate that matchup, especially with Jared
I
Allen.
don't either.
lurking in the
No,
paint.
that's their best on-ball defender.
Right. Which I don't know, man. Pistons.
That has the size. Cade's like 6'8". We got to remember that.
Yeah, like he's not
they
like
might
a
do
quick,
that.
he's not a quick twitch guard, you know. Like he's fast, obviously, but he's not maxi, you know.
I think D. Mitch is going to have a big series, though, because they're going to put a
Yeah.
SAR on James Harden.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a lot like this series. Like I'm not gonna be shocked if Tuesday night I'm like, wow,
I think this goes 7.
Detroit's making Cleveland look small right now.
You got to put a SAR on James just because how James plays.
But then what? You got Duncan Robinson on. Oh no, you got Cade on D Mitch.
No. They'll put
Who would it be? It's not going to be Duncan Robinson. It's not going to be Tobias. It's not going to be Duren. It's going to have to be Cade.
I think they match up well. I think they do. I think it's gonna be a lot like the Toronto series where it's just like
who would I put on?
Cleveland struggling to shoot.
That's what I'm saying.
Like I don't. There's just something about Cleveland's where I'm like they
If
could
they
go into
turn up,
Detroit and
they're
get like
dangerous.
yeah they're dangerous when they turn up when you
Yeah.
got D Mitch hooping. But there's just something about me. I feel just like I'm gonna be watching Tuesday night and I'm like, wow, they just walked into Detroit and got punked game 1 and like lost by a convincing 8 points. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham had 34 and was frying
Cade's
Mobley
the
on the
best
switch.
player in the series.
It's like wow.
D-Mitch just has to have a big series.
Yeah,
He
I
has to
think
be
D
better.
Mitch. If you get D Mitch what he was doing against Toronto,
Game 1 and 2.
Detroit, yeah, Detroit, no,
They
like
need game 2. They need game 1 and 2 D-Mitch. I'm with you.
Yeah. But if they get game 3 and 4 and 5, like when D-Mitch was just not being good, like
He was
this
looking
series is
sorry.
live. This series is
sorry.
live. But I do give the Cavs the edge. But there's just times where I'm just like, man, their offense can just be like so like blah sometimes, even with Harden and D-Mitch and shit. Like it's just
We never thought it was good, but we never thought with this Cavs team we were going to have to worry about D-Mitch being an elite scorer in the playoff. Like I thought that was a given, and if that was the case, like usual playoff D-Mitch, like that's where I'm high on the Cavs. But if he's not looking his best, and him and Harden, the truth about the Cavs is, I think the longer they can just stay alive, the better they're going to get, because the lineup they're playing the most has barely played over, I think it was like over 50 minutes together in the regular season since the James Harden trade. The crew they're running out there has barely played together. So that's why the offense is not looking like shit. You look at the Cavs last year, they were the best offense in basketball all regular season. I think James Harden raises their ceiling. I think it's just taking time for that to all like get together smoothly. It's affecting D-Mitch. It's affecting Harden. I want to trust that those two guys are the level of players that can figure it out here. I don't know. I'm gonna go Cavs in 6.
I'm gonna go Cavs in 6 too. But I'm looking at just like I'm sitting here because you guys, Keon has to play. Because I'm looking at, I'm just sitting here. I'm like, wow, like they're gonna like throw Strus on Cade for like a 2-minute stint while D Wade out the game, and he just gonna start getting fried. Like there's gonna like. Why is Keon Ellis getting? Got me looking at Kenny Atkinson a little different. Why is Keon Ellis getting DNPs?
Can't Sam Merrill sit down a little bit?
Man, fuck. Why is Sam Merrill playing 23 minutes? Like Sam Merrill's good as a shooter, but I'm sitting here. I'm like, in this series that we're previewing versus Detroit, I'm just like, Sam Merrill should not be getting 23 minutes because I could just already see the world where like I just think Detroit is gonna win 2 games off Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren just bullying Mobley and Allen for like 2 games. That's why I kind of just feel like it's going to happen. Because Jared Allen also, what we saw tonight, has not been the Jared Allen we've seen in the series. Mm-hmm. He had a great stint tonight, but Jared Allen also is wishy-washy. His third quarter was crazy, but we haven't been seeing him like that the entire series. But we also haven't been seeing Jalen Duren play up to his level. So it's interesting to see who shows up and who steps up. But Detroit with the home court, coming off of a major Game 7 win, convincing win, I think Detroit's going to win Game 1. I think Detroit wins Game 1.
They're at home.
I think they snag Game 1 at home.
I know they don't look like it, but we have to remember they are 1 seeds.
We're talking a lot about D-Mitch and having to show up. I need to see James Harden show me some shit.
It's more James.
I think James Harden needs to be more of the two. I think we know what we're getting from Evan Mobley, but it's more of like
you want him to take it up a notch though. I'm not worried about Evan Mobley having bad games. He's a decoy
because I know what he's giving me defensively.
Yeah.
It's just I'm looking at Harden. It's like D-Mitch, whoever's not having a Star Thompson on him, who's ever getting the Duncan Robinson for stretches, or the Dennis Jenkins for stretches, or even the Cade for stretches. Because I'm not saying Cade's an elite defender. I'm just like, show me something. But I could just see a world where I'm like, wow, James Harden is like 4 for 16, or D-Mitch is like 5 for 15, like not doing a whole lot. Shots. Yeah, just taking bad shots, and like, wow, Detroit just went on a 6-0 run off fast break layups because James Harden and D-Mitch combined for like 3 turnovers.
Wait. When have you seen Harden didn't even average 7 assists in this series? What is that?
That's not Harden.
He was putting up some crazy
Toronto defense. For some reason, the combination of Scotty Barnes and Kobe Goalter, Shed, and like Kyle Murray Boyles had them boys in hell. Like there was nothing the Cavs were gonna be able. I saw Jamal Shed go ahead, pick up hard, and then switch on the deep, and then like get in the pass. I was like, oh my god! And then Kyle Murray Boyles just holding shit down. I'm like, oh wow, this is crazy. Like
if they had one different guard, they might go to the finals. If they had one guard that was elite, they'd go to the finals.
I'm sitting here, I'm like, wow. That's game crazy. I knew it was the game 2 in Cleveland, and like D-Mitch was going off and had a great game, and I was like, wow. Scotty just shadowed and went step for step with D-Mitch, full speed, the full length of the court, and said, nah, sit. I was like, damn. Like, so I'm interested to see. I'm going Cavs in 6, but I'm not gonna be shocked if I'm like sitting down for Game 7 and it's in fucking Detroit. I'm just like, oh, here we go. Like,
I also think Toronto's just a lot better than we realized, and I think they're a lot better than Orlando. They're both suck offensively, but like I think that how elite Toronto is defensively is making us overreact to what the Cavs can get to, especially with it being a new lineup. That's my reasoning for why I still believe in the Cavs.
When we did predictions,
matchup, man.
I was high on the Suns to make the play-in, and I said Toronto was going to be a top 6 seed. And I texted Cole. I was high on Toronto. In no world did I think they'd be in a Game 7 against Cleveland tomorrow. This is I texted him on Saturday when we were going into Sunday. I was like, there's no way I'd really be thinking that Toronto's in a Game 7 tomorrow against Cleveland. With no BI and no Quickly, I would have been like, oh, series ended at 5. But that defense was insane.
Scotty's an all-star.
God forbid they added a better 5 than Pirtle, in my opinion. But
Shout out to DMB also.
Yeah, but because a lot of people were hating on that pick on draft night. A lot of people were like, why are they drafting another wing?
He was the third best offensive player of the series.
Yeah. But we have wrapped up our predictions for the Eastern Conference. Probably going to do another one getting into the conference finals. I feel like this playoffs has been elite, insane so far, especially in the Eastern Conference. We've had some duds, but I feel like it's been nothing but good ball for the most part. But that is all we have for you guys for this episode of the Barrel Talk Podcast. Hope you tune in to future episodes.